Welcome to this JMC Weekly webinar. It's September 13th, 2023. It's Advanced Teacher Training, Teacher Preference Settings. My name is Paul Freed. I've been a trainer with JMC for about 18 years. I live here in southeastern Minnesota in Lake City, which is the home office of JMC. On a small farm, we sell kombucha, got some goats and llamas, and it's a beautiful fall day here in southeast Minnesota. I'm joined by one of my good friends, Denise Drew. Denise, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name's Denise Drew, and I work at the Lanesboro Schools for many, many years, working with JMC, and I just loved it. So I actively sought out a position at JMC, and I am having a blast working here. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yep, and Denise and I have been working well together. And we have one of our newer members of our client service specialist team. It's Greg Appleby. Greg, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Greg Appleby. I live in north central Nebraska, O'Neill, Nebraska, and I've been with JMC since June. I just retired as the principal in northeast Nebraska, but I've been with JMC for about 7 years using it, and really excited working with JMC right now as a client service specialist to help our schools out. So glad to be with JMC.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. I appreciate it, Denise. So here we go. We want to take your teaching level to the next game. We want to make sure that you guys have up-to-date training on JMC Teacher. So we have this advanced teacher training series just to give you quick updates on what you can do in JMC. Mastering the JMC Teacher Portal involves customizing your settings to get you the information you need to see in the exact format you want to see it. Today, we'll take a look at organizing assignments, score calculation options, and email signatures as well. That's kind of how we group together all the items on the file preferences screen. There's more than that. We kind of wanted to group them together so you can kind of keep them straight in your mind. Please hold all of your questions until the Q&A chat session at the end of each section. If you do need to communicate with the host, feel free to use the Q&A chat feature, in your webinar toolbar. And Denise will be looking for those in case you have any questions as we go. All right. JMC offers teachers the convenience of tailoring the appearance and functionality of certain features in JMC Teacher to suit their needs. With the ability to adjust settings like assignment sorting and calculation rounding, you can personalize JMC Teacher to function exactly the way you want it to. By setting preferences that match your preferred view, you can enhance your productivity and make the most of this excellent tool. Let's talk about first organizing assignments. So all these items are going to be under file preferences for this entire presentation. So you'll log into JMC Teacher, head to file preferences to explore and set options for JMC Teacher. Step one, you can select the grading term from the current term drop-down list to access schedules, gradebooks, and attendance for the specified term. We did make an update a couple of years ago. Up until a couple of years ago, you could only do quarter one or quarter two, quarter three, quarter four. Now we have a semester one setting and a semester two. What that means is that when you get to the end of quarter one, instead of changing to quarter two and only seeing quarter two, you can change it to semester one. So you can easily toggle between your quarter one and quarter two courses as you go through there. So that's a helpful little tip for you. Step two, select the appropriate preferences from the sort assignments by and show drop-down list to organize the layout of the assignment scores page. Now, the sort assignments by date will display assignments in order by the due date, as we have listed right here. All right, let me see here. Yep. So what that means is it's going to default the date oldest to newest. So if you're looking at your computer screen, this matches your old red paper gradebook. Student names are on the left-hand side and assignments go across to the right. The newest ones are on the right-hand side. You can say, I want to sort assignments by date. You can do it from oldest to newest. You can change that now from newest to oldest. So that puts the newest assignment on your left side and the oldest ones on the right. And a lot more people like that because you're not constantly scrolling to the right to see it. So you can go ahead and change any of these settings and change them back if you'd like. You can also sort by category. So if you don't want to sort by date, you can sort by category, and then it'll put all of your different categories together, like your assignment category, your quiz category, your test category as you go through there. And then the show all students display all students in the gradebook view, or show one student to select individual students from a drop-down list to display students one at a time in the gradebook view. Now this particular one here, 99% of the time you're going to use all students there. But if you're doing parent-teacher conference or something like that, you can do show one student. You can also set that setting on your assignment score screen. So I'm actually going to run there real quick instead of waiting for the live look view here. So if I come here and I'm going to go back to these same items here, I'm going to go under my file. So here we go. To preferences. If I come here, I'm going to sort my assignments by date. Instead of going oldest to newest, I'm going to go newest to oldest, and I'm going to go to that screen. So here's my assignment score screen. You'll see 913 is my my newest assignment, and 712 is my oldest assignment there. Excuse me, I had to mute myself because I had to sneeze there. So newest assignment's on the left, oldest assignment is on the right. You can do it however you want. It doesn't make any difference to us whatsoever. But again, they're sorted by date. Now, these different colors here, right, are for the color categories. If I go back to my file preferences here, and I say, I don't want it sorted by date, I want it sorted by category, right? Then when I go back down to my score, my assignment score screen, now they're together. Here's all of my assignments. Here's my quizzes. Here's my project. And here's my tests, right? So you can make it work how you want it to work. You can play with it because you can always come back here to file preferences and change it. I'm going to change it back to date. And I always do it from oldest to newest because I do a lot of trainings. That's the one that people are most comfortable with. But really, I do think the most efficient is newest to oldest as we have listed there. And again, you can show all students or show one student. Okay. I think that's all I'll run this webinar. I'll show a couple of the features and then do that live look. Step 3, select a color from the color picker next to each predefined gradebook code. For example, X is exempt, HI for handed in, to customize the score alert displayed on the assignment scores page. So you'll see here, we have all the different ones that are listed here. You can choose any of these symbols that you want. They are predefined in JMC. And there's default colors that are listed there for you. If you want to see what these symbols mean, the easiest way to do this in JMC is to go under your scores to your assignment score screen. You'll see I have some of these colors listed already with these different items. And just to click on a student's name, when you click on a student's name, it brings up an up-to-date progress report, and all the legend at the bottom will tell you an X is exempt, LX is late exempt, what counts as 0, and so on, all listed right there. But you'll see all the colors I have are listed right here. One new one that we are going to be having coming up here on our file, down to preferences, we have a new one coming in here, which will allow you to set a percentage, and if it's under that percentage, it will show up in that color. So it's a way to alert you if kids have lots of low grades. And this actually, I think, is, I've never actually changed this one. I'm just going to change it real quick just to see here. If this is no score there, and I go back to my scores to my assignment score screen, you'll see if they don't have any score, it shows up there as well. So I think this was an addition we made this year, or I just haven't noticed it. But the nut where things are not filled into a box, if I delete this out, it's going to show up as that color instead of a blank color. So lots of fun ways that you can use these file preferences and the colors listed here to show that off there. So I'm going to go back here and go back to my blank there. This is an autosave screen, so I don't need to click save as I go through. Okay. Here we go. Keep on rolling. Lots of preferences here. Step 4, you can select, this is a new feature that has not yet come out yet. So we're here in September 2023. This should be out in the next month or so, probably October. You can select a color from the low assignment score color picker and select the low score percentage threshold from the percentage drop-down list to customize a low score alert displayed on the assignment page. Meaning that if the kid's score is, for here, 60% of the or lower, then the total score for an assignment, it will show up in this color here. So brand new feature that's coming out in the fall of 2023. A few helpful tips here. If you want to be warned that you accidentally gave a student a score that was above the highest possible score for an assignment, place a check mark in the warn if score is greater than max score checkbox. This one is default on for any new school and any new teacher as well. So if I have a 10-point assignment and a kid gets 50 out of 10, it will come up and say, hey, you got 50 out of 10. It doesn't make you change it. It just, you click OK, it's just warning you there as well. The next one's one of my favorites. It's not default checked on, but I would, if I was you, is place a check mark in the show assignment summary checkbox to display class averages for select assignments on the assignment scores page. It's a brand new, as of I think last year, mini report that comes up on the assignment scores page there as well. And then we've got the place a check mark in the use old assignment score style checkbox to revert to an older version of the assignment score page. I would not do that. It makes it so that you don't see the slanted assignment names and things like that. We had to add that back in because when we put that the new look in, some people are like, oh, I like the old look, and just because people don't like change. I would not check that, but I do like that show assignment summary. So I'm going to show that to you here. Again, on my file preferences screen, I've got it checked here, my show assignment summary. So now if I can uncheck that if I don't want it, or I can check it if I do. Then I'll go to my scores, to my assignment score screen. When I click on assignment, and actually sometimes it takes a second to, there we go, to register. There it is. Now it shows me the assignment summary for this particular quiz, right? What's the class mean? 14.2. What's the class median? 18. What's the maximum? What's the minimum? So it's a really cool way to be able to see for any particular item here for this test here. What's this? Okay, what do we have there? All right, the mean is 95%. Same with the median. What's the maximum? What's the minimum? So it's an in program help item there, or report. So you don't actually have to run a report for those particular items. So pretty cool there. All right. Next on our file preferences screen is step 5. Select the appropriate preferences from your sort assessments by and result display drop-down list to customize your view of the competency-based gradebook. So just to be clear, we're not talking now about the assignment scores, right? This is my assignment score screen. We are talking about the competency-based grading in this next section, because our file preferences screen is for the whole JMC teacher, not just a specific part. So I go to competency-based grading, I can define my formative assessments, and I can actually go and I can score formative assessments here. Oops, by students, here we go, score formative assessments. Here's my kids. We have the ways to come in and do colors and numbers for each particular student here. It's a really cool feature that we have. If you've never used competency-based grading, in a nutshell, it allows you to define any goal, standard, benchmark, target that you want. And then what you can do is you can assess students with a number system, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, with colors, and you've got a great item here that shows up on the JMC family and JMC student portal. It is the best tool. It's cutting edge technology for standards-based grading K-12. Now, this screen also can have some sort options. So what it is here, now again, we're talking about that competency-based grading. We have some sort options. Step 5 says, select the appropriate preferences from the sort assessments by and results display drop-down list to customize your view of the competency-based gradebook. So you'll see they're actually the same as this, almost the same as this listed here. So a sort assessments by date, you'll view the formative assessments from newest to oldest or oldest to newest, right? Just like we did the assignment scores, those assessments can be listed there as well. So I'm not going to show you that because that's pretty straightforward, but this is kind of cool. You can sort the assessment name. So you can do it by alphabetical if you don't want to do it by date here. And then I think we've got the next one here. This result display can be done in 3 different ways. This one is helpful because when you define in the competency-based grading the results, you have to put a color in, a name, a short name, and a value. So this is green, which is MET, which stands for meeting grade level standard. It's a point value of 4. Well, what we allow you to do when you set these preferences, and I'll go back under file, down to preferences, is we allow you to say, hey, do I want the name in color? Do I want the value in color? What do I want there? Because some schools say, we don't want the value out there on that one. We just want the name. Or maybe we want the value or just the color only. If you're doing just formative assessments, we want just the color there. That's what we'll show. And that's what we'll show in the JMC family and JMC student portal as well. Again, you can kind of play with these. If you're like, no, we want families to see the number 4321 that we've got listed there. Great, you can do that. Whatever you want. There is the marking key at the bottom, so families can also always relate or refer back to the marking key. But this allows you very similarly to the assignment scores page. This is your competency-based grading page there as well. So lots of great resources there for you. So I think I'm on my live look. We've talked about that already. Denise or Greg, are there any questions out there? Do you have any questions so far? Or should I keep on rolling?
Yes, there's one question. Becky wanted to know if in the preferences, if the term changes automatically when the term on the calendar changes.
That's a great question. Does the term change when the calendar changes? The answer to that is no. We've talked about that a little bit. The problem is that, quarter 1 say is done on October 30th. And then quarter 2 starts on November 3rd. If we change it on October 30th or November 3rd, there is crossover, right? People will be going back into quarter 1 during quarter 2 and vice versa. So we don't change it automatically because it might make sense to Becky. I have found in training software for a long time that when you do things in the background that people aren't expecting, it can really kind of confuse folks. So that's why I think that the solution that I think is helpful, Becky, is that when you are done with quarter 1, assuming you're a quarter person, you can come in and change it to semester one. That allows you to see quarter one and quarter two at the same time, but you do have to change it for that term from one to the next. I do like the semester one. I don't see us automatically changing in the future because, again, for some people that makes sense. For those that are not as tech savvy, when they log in on November 1st that weekend and they want to do their quarter one grades because it's a Sunday and they want to get them done because they're late, they log in and they, oh my gosh, all my grades are gone. They don't realize they're in quarter two, right? And maybe there's something we can do about that in the future, but for right now we don't. So Becky, great question. All right, other questions? All right, let's keep on rolling. Score calculation options. All right, so this is all part of the same article. So we're going just right on down with our steps. Step 6, place a check mark in the appropriate checkbox to utilize the listed calculation or display option from the general box. So right down here. So we've got lots of options that we're going to go through here. So this one is automatically checked the round percentages to determine grades. This rounding rules will be applied to the percentage of a student's grade within your class. What this means is if a kid has, let's say, 89.5%, when it calculates their overall grade, it'll be based on 90%. So anything from the half percentage goes up to the next item, the next full percentage point. So if a kid got 78.6, when it calculates his final grade, it would be 79%. So you can uncheck that if you don't want that to be checked, but most schools do that. It's written into most student handbooks, I think. I've seen some, but most people do that check. You don't have to if you don't want to. All right, always use letter grades to calculate course grades. JMC will ignore the percentages when determining the overall course grade and instead will use the letter grade values from JMC office. Do not check this box unless your school has instructed you to, or you've talked to your counselor or your administration about this. So what JMC does when it calculates course grades, it automatically calculates based on the percentage a kid has for quarter one, quarter two, semester one, whatever it might be. Some schools don't want that. It's very rare, but some schools don't. They say, hey, we want the overall grade of a semester to be calculated based on the grade point. So a lot of schools have like a 4-point grade system or a 12-point grade system, right? And they want to take those grade points to calculate the overall letter grade, typically for a semester or for a year. So this is something typically a whole school would do, not an individual teacher. Most teachers calculate based on the percentage behind the overall grade. So I'll leave that one at that. If anybody has any questions, they sure can ask. They include exams and course menus. This adds the semester exam options in categories and assignments for each course section. So sometimes I think teachers click this one thinking, I'm going to put an exam in or something like that. It's not something that you have to do. You would only check this if you have an exam typically on your report card, quarter one, quarter two, and exam. So if I check this and I go under my scores to my, actually, let's go under my edit, my course grade screen. This is the screen that gets sent into the office at the end of the term. It'll show here that I've got quarter one, quarter two, and here's my exam. It'll actually allow me to come in and it'll say my exam will be listed, can be listed as an item that's listed there. So, or if I go to my, let's go to, sorry, I went to the wrong one there. Scores to categories and assignments. I click on there here, my exams will be listed here. You can put the exam in as a course so that when it calculates your quarter one percentage plus your quarter two percentage plus your exam percentage, it's listed there. So, but again, the only reason you'd turn this on is if your exams are on your report card. If they're not on the report card, I would not check this. So you go under File, down to Preferences. I would uncheck this. Again, this is an auto save screen, so I don't need to do anything. Then when I go under my scores to my categories and assignments screen, you'll see that it's not listed there. Those are not at the bottom where those exams used to be. So really easy to do. And you typically don't want to just willy-nilly check things in your JMC preferences. You want to know why you're doing that. All right. Move on to the next item, which I think is student photos. Yep, show student photos. This will display student photos besides student names on the seating charts and enter attendance pages. So it makes your enter attendance page a little bit longer because you've got each student's picture there. But it is pretty cool. And actually, if your school had photos in last year, those photos will carry forward to this year. So you'll see the kid's photo from last year before you take new pictures for this year. So it's a pretty cool thing to do. I would turn on your photos. I think it's just, if you don't know who all your kids are, it can be helpful so that you can look at the kids and their names all at the same time. Allow multiple dates per term in assessment sets. This allows the teacher to enter more than one set of assessment sets per term. This is only done with standards-based grading. It's done very rarely. It means that I want to assess the kids 3 times for quarter 1 with the standards and benchmarks module. It's very rare. I actually don't think any teachers do this. It was more popular back in the early 2000s. Now our competency-based grading has really replaced that. It's much more flexible and easier to use and easier for families to see as well. So I don't know any teachers that would have this in there, but we kept it in there just in case there's a teacher that's been doing it and we don't know about it. Next one is one that's been new in the last couple of years. Show submitted attendance status. This displays feedback on the enter attendance page if you've previously submitted attendance for a course. So I do like this one. I do recommend that teachers submit it, especially if you do attendance multiple times per day. If that's checked, then when I come here to my classroom attendance to enter attendance, and if I put in, attendance is correct, it's going to tell me that I've already put in attendance for that period if I've done that already. So it just, and I was just doing a training before this, and I've done attendance for this school for this day. But it tells me when I switch from one class to the next, if I've submitted attendance for that period for that day. So it's just reminding you, hey, you've done attendance. It shows that you submitted that attendance status there. So, I like it. There's not really a reason not to turn on. I mean, you don't have to turn on either. If you've never had a problem knowing if you took attendance or not, you don't need to do that. I think that sometimes, not maybe your regular classroom teachers who have a 7-period day, they wouldn't need it, but sometimes we've got the situation, we've got a band teacher who teaches on Monday, they teach band, and on Tuesday they teach band and choir, and on Wednesday they teach 7th grade band and 9th grade band, 12th grade, they're kind of wading through those courses and it's different each day. That's where that can be helpful there as well. So we'll take a live look at the calculation options there. And if anybody has any questions, they can type them in now. The only thing I'll put in here, I want to show you that where the student photos show up is that student photos will show up on this screen. It does make the screen longer because it's making space for the photos. So if I go under File, down to Preferences, and I go to Include Student Photos, then when I come here under my classroom attendance to enter attendance, it shows the student photos listed in there for each course that you have there. So if they don't have a photo, then it will just show this little avatar that's listed there for that particular student that's there. So it does make it longer, right? Because I've got to scroll a few times to see all the kids. If I go back under File, down to Preferences, and I uncheck that, maybe you're a couple weeks into school, you know all the kids, you don't need to see their pictures anymore. I go classroom attendance to enter attendance. Let's go, I think that was my handwriting class, or there you go. You can easily see all your kids there. So again, that's why it's a preference that you can set totally up to you. So any questions there, or should we keep on rolling?
No questions. Go ahead.
Great. And the last one's pretty easy, but I highly recommend it. It's your email signature. Step 7, enter an email signature to be used when sending an email from the teacher message center in the email signature box. I think that this should be standard. Almost everybody now in the business world at least has a signature. Who are you? What do you do? And where did you go to where'd you go to school or whatever? It can be listed there as well. So a couple of helpful tips. You can add some pizzazz, right, to your email signature. Use the formatting options to change the font, make it text bold, italic, or underline. Even add a hyperlink and more. Copy and paste your school's logo into your email signature to really make it stand out. If you don't want to include your email signature, you can remove the check mark from the include signature checkbox. So Jake put in here, he is one of our trainers. He's a Cyclones grad, Iowa State. So he put in here Iowa State University in red and then put yellow behind it. That's the school color. He's a graduate. Go Cyclones. So I thought that was funny. And I gave him a little grief for that as well, being from Minnesota. But you can make it look nice. You can add a hyperlink under there. You can add in there, volleyball coach and girls soccer coach or whatever that might be there as well. Step 8, you do have to click the save button to save your email signature, just so you know, it's a separate item. We don't want it to automatically just go out there if you don't want it. So once you put it in there, check to include your signature and click save there. Helpful tip. You need to change your password at the bottom, click the edit link at the bottom of the page to enter a new password. Click the save link to enable your new password. We didn't put that in there as a step because you're not going to do that every time. We didn't want the people to think that they had to do that. So when I go under File, under Preferences at the bottom, I can come in here and edit and change my password. It'll tell you what the strength is. And when I click save, and it's not going to show it to you, if you put it in there and you automatically forget it right away, you can go talk to the office because the office can look up what your password is there as well. So that one's pretty straightforward. Again, I really do like the email signature, and I like all these. We build these based on what teachers are asking us for, based on their individualized needs. So take advantage of it. Every teacher should visit the screen at least at the beginning of the year, set their preferences to roll from there. So I'm looking and I don't see any questions. So I think we're going to wrap this one up. Here's JMC news and upcoming events. We have lots of webinars coming up here in September and early October. We've got some new things on our messaging tools here as well. Next week, we've got ways we support, and also the attendance form letters and the new features of the community messenger, which I'm excited about there as well. And then we've got in here some admin workshops here, a teacher summit, star reporting for Minnesota, and the credit checker, which is a great tool to use, especially in high schools there as well. All right, here we go. Do you have a positive experience with JMC that you'd like to share? Become a reference and help us spread the word. Email your district's reference letter to marketing@jmcinc.com, and you'll be entered for a chance to win a JMC Pride Kit. Community members, we're gonna have this new community messenger coming out, I think here in October. Community members will now have an online portal to create their own account and choose the types, email, text, and voice of messages they want to receive from the school district, as well as subscribe to specific categories of messages. The module is fully integrated, so schools have a streamlined process and informed community without third-party software. Join us to take a closer look at some of the community message portal features on September 21st at 12:30 by registering here. Have a new superintendent join your district? How exciting, or maybe a new principal. Have them join us for our new administrator workshop series and cross Learn New SIS off the summer to-do list. Sign up today by visiting this article. You can click on that one, or you can also go to our help center to see the full new administrator workshop series lineup. Another great way to stay up to date on all things JMC is through our social media presence, also on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Online JMC, or our blog, jmcinc.com/news. On behalf of myself and the JMC training team, thanks for your time today, and thank you for choosing JMC.